Hey, Regina.
Hey, Sharon, how are you?
I'm good. I'm going to make you the host, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Enjoy.
Thank you.
All right.
Right, what you doing up there?
There we go. Recording in
All right,
progress.
great. Well, welcome everyone, and we're thankful for everyone that's online today, and for others that may come. So, again, we're going to start off this session talking about budgeting and spending your spending plan. But before we do that, we just want to touch base for last week's assignment, which was basically just write down your income and what bills you have or what your spending is. So, and talk about it. Okay. And of course, if you were single, someone that you trust and someone that you admire, you could have that conversation with them. So would anyone like to share just basically how did that go, or what did it feel like, and what did it do for you? Okay. Dave, you don't have your hand up, do you? Dave lost.
Yes, I know.
Let's see. Okay.
Nobody did the homework?
I
Oh,
missed last
man.
week class, so I didn't know about the homework. I missed last.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Well,
why I don't do it, but I will do it. I'll do it.
yes. And it's sort of a continuation for the 4 sessions we have. It will be a continuation. So that's good. It's just where we were beginning to start and build.
Okay.
And then also just to repeat, of course, last week's session was basically being honest with your partner or your partner about your money. Just being honest with your money. And of course, God knows anyway. So that was the whole session last week, and we called it
Financial infidelity.
Financial infidelity. And it really does fit, because if you remember, we're called the church is called the bride of Christ. Okay, so as a believer, a disciple, we are responsible to Christ. So that's why we begin that session, because that's the first thing. You got to be honest with yourself, honest with those who are important to you and key to your life, to make the progress that you want to have in finances. Okay, so that was session 1 from last week. Now, beginning with session 2, and actually, I'm going to kind of let Regina, she's setting up the slide. We have a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to be working off and share with you guys.
All right, so everybody let me know when you can see it.
Budget is
Can
not
everybody see the slides?
budget is not a 4-letter word.
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Okay, very good. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So
I'll go ahead. I'm going to
Ready?
actually let you talk about that a little bit.
okay, very good. So we always like to start with scriptures that are appropriate to the topic. If I can get my slides to, there we go. Okay. All right, so Proverbs 21:20 in the Good News Translation. Wise people live in wealth and luxury, but stupid people spend their money as fast as they get it. Proverbs 21:5 in the New Living Translation. Good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. And then finally, also from the book of Proverbs 25:28 in the Message, a person without self-control is like a house with its doors and windows knocked out. So budgeting is all about planning. It's all about work. For the married people, it's about agreement with your spouse. For the single people among us, you guys can get in on this too. If you have chosen, as we mentioned last week, to find an accountability partner, it's all about honesty and transparency with your accountability partner, because they're not going to be able to help you reach your goals if you're not being honest. Okay. All right, let's keep it moving. Go ahead.
And I just want to follow up and say that we even ourselves, we've all been in that place where we weren't doing very well with our finances. So, but we're thankful to share what we can that has helped us to be where we are now, in a much better position.
Oh, yes.
So I don't want anyone to feel like it's, it's just something that just happened, but it does take time, and it's a progress in becoming better with your finance and just a better steward.
Okay. So let's talk about, before we go any further, do you guys like my little cartoon? Can you see the little cartoon up in the corner of the slide? That was kind of me. That was me when we first started working on a budget, having our monthly budget meeting. I mean, I didn't say the words out loud, but I was thinking them in my head. So I had to ask the Lord to forgive me. So just a little transparency there. So what a budget is. Let's talk about what a budget is. A budget is written down or stored electronically where everyone has access to it. So it can't be the kind of thing where whichever one of you is better with the app or better with the spreadsheet or better with the notes that you take down on your notepad, whichever way you choose to do it. It can't be a matter where the one of you who creates it is the only one that has access to it. That's not going to work. So it's got to be easily accessible by everyone. A budget is created before each month begins. So today is the 22nd of May. So June will be here before you know it. So not to skip ahead, but we're gonna give you the opportunity to put into practice what we're talking about today. We're going to ask you to sit down and actually put together a budget for the month of June. A budget is also easily adjusted when necessary, because things pop up, especially now, you're going to be taking trips and going to parties, and things like that. So things may come up during the course of the month that maybe you didn't account for when you put the budget together. So make sure you keep it in the back of your mind that your budget is fluid. You can change it when you need to. Budget is also agreed on by both spouses or by the singles and their accountability partner. Okay. Your place of agreement is your place of power. And if you don't like the word budget, if you grew up in a household where, your family was on a very strict budget and you've got negative memories from that, you can call it a cash flow or spending plan. Okay. Any questions or feedback before we continue?
I have another comment. I just want to ask how many people have actually done a budget before prior to this class?
I have.
Okay.
How did it go?
You know what, to be honest, there have been periods of time where I have put budgets in place and I saw the progress. And I get off track every time with emotional spending or things that seem important that I want to be involved in. And sometimes I just don't have the courage to say no, I don't have the money for it. Or I feel like there are things like missed opportunities that I feel like, I'm going to have to count on you, God, to take up the slack on this. And by that, I mean, travel to see my parents in New Jersey or family gatherings or birthday gifts and things like that.
Yeah.
That's what gets me off track. Giving.
Well, one of the things we
Budget.
appreciate your honesty and your transparency, Miss Wanda. One of the things that may help you to be more successful this time around is making those things line items in your budget so that you see them each month and you can, whenever possible, set money aside for those things. You may have to, like we said, it's easily adjustable. So if there's a family gathering coming up that you really want to be a part of, you want to be able to take advantage of it, maybe you can take a little bit from your savings and allocate it toward that trip. Maybe you can take a little bit of your grocery money. If you're the type of person who eats out a lot, maybe for the month prior to that event, you can make the decision to use the money that you would ordinarily use for eating out and put it aside towards that trip. So it's going to be a matter of month to month looking at what you've got coming up, which is why we ask you to do it before the month begins. So it's going to require some additional planning as much as possible, because things pop up all the time that we weren't expecting.
Okay. Great. I have another question, but we'll get to it in a minute. So let's go on.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay, so what a budget is not. A budget is not a unilateral decision. Again, the one who creates it is not the only one with the power. Everybody's got an equal say. A budget is not a ball and chain, okay? It's not the kind of thing where, it's a drudgery. A budget really is, I guess I should have put another point on the previous slide. It's a tool to help you reach your goal. It's not always going to feel like that, just to be honest, but you gotta keep your focus on the goal and not on the right now. You gotta train yourself to look ahead to what it is that you are trying to accomplish. We talked about how your budget is not etched in stone. It's not the kind of thing where once you put it together, that's it. If you go into it looking at it from that perspective, you're going to get frustrated because, with the way prices are fluctuating so much, the money that you set aside for gas or groceries or other or savings, if the gas prices go up, if you do more driving than you ordinarily would, then your budget is going to get knocked out of whack. So it's not etched in stone. A budget is also not a quick fix. It's going to take time. If you've never done this before, you're going to have to train yourself to do it. You're going to have to develop the discipline of actually sitting down with your partner, with your accountability partner, with your spouse, and doing it every month when you don't feel like it, when the money is tight and you really don't want to have to look at, what the bills look like. You've got to develop the discipline of doing it every month. So a budget is not easy. Again, if you've never done it before, you're training yourself, you're developing a new skill. Grant yourself some grace. It will get easier. And a budget is not the end of your enjoyment of life. I thought it was the first year we did it.
Yeah.
The first year we did it, it was awful to me. My husband just shared that he never felt that way. I did. It was not easy to me. It's much easier now. It's not nearly as unpleasant as it was when we started doing it. So keep going. It will get better and it will get easier.
And I'll share this just the fact of it. If the goal of it, in all that we share, talk about, the goal is to win in your finances, is to win with money. And that's a process, because when you go through a process, there's a change that has to take place in your habits and in your attitude and just your overall view with money. And you may have tried a budget. It could have been a bad experience for some people. But the goal is you want to win with your money. And just kind of walking with Miss Wonder, who's shared her experience with a budget. One of the things I was going to ask, did you have like an accountability partner at the times that you have done Miss Wonder?
No, I did not.
Okay. And I think that can be very helpful. It's having someone that you really trust. You have the same goal, same heart about it, in mind that you want to get better with your finances. And also, I know Regina talked about a lot about the planning, when different events, activities that come up, and that does happen. And as much as possible, you really want to try to think ahead, start planning ahead. It may be as early as 12 months out, 6 months, but kind of thinking ahead. That's when that's possible.
Whenever possible.
Yeah. So just a couple other comments I wanted to add. So go ahead, babe.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I found these different types of budgets from an article called 5 Simple Budgeting Methods to Help You Live Your Best Life. And I thought this was a really great information because, everybody's background is different. Everybody's giftings and talents are different. If you've got people from baby boomers to millennials to Gen Xers, Gen Zers, not everybody's going to, want to do like we do ours on, an old school Excel spreadsheet. But, if you're more tech savvy, then, an electronic budget may be a better option for you. So these are the different types of budgets, and you can mix them, match them, take something from one, add it to the other, whatever is going to work best for you and increase your chances of success, then go for it. So the most basic one is the zero-based budget, where your income minus your expenses equals 0. So that doesn't mean 0 in your bank account. I had a problem with that at first because I thought it meant that, every month we had to bring our balance in our bank account to 0. No, what it means is you look at all the money you have coming in for the month from your job, from overtime, from your side hustles, everything that you've got coming in for the month. You write all of that down. Then you look at everything you have going out for the month, including your tithe, including offerings, including savings, everything. You got to write it all out. All your income minus all of your expenses for each month should equal 0. So if you have more coming in than you have going out, then when you get down to the bottom, you've got some money left over, which is what we're trying to get to, then that amount extra that you have left over, if you've got a special, occasion or trip coming up, make that occasion or trip a line item in your budget and put that extra toward that trip or that occasion. If it's on the other side and your expenses are more than your income, then that's where, you know, you want to look at what it is that you're spending, how you're spending, where is the bulk of your money going out every month. So if you've got a lot of money allocated for, I don't know, Starbucks, or if you've got subscriptions, you know, streaming services, things like that, that, you know, you have to take a second look at and say, I haven't used these things in 6 months. Cancel those. And then, you know, that extra money now is available to go to get you to the point where your budget is, you know, it equals zero. So it's gonna, it really does require taking a good hard look at your current lifestyle, what it is now versus what you want it to be, and how your budget is going to help you get there. The second type of budget is to pay yourself first. So set aside a specific amount of money every time you get paid for giving, debt payments, and savings, and spend the rest however you see fit. But make sure that your obligations are taken care of. Okay? Anything you want to add, honey?
That's interesting. In that sometimes we don't pay ourselves. I know that's one thing I can easily be guilty of, because I get so focused on the goal is I really want to save more money. I really want to continue to improve and decrease debt. So sometimes I can overlook that for myself, to be honest with you guys. But when I go to reach in my pocket and I want to do something, then I think I become more aware, I need to pay myself. So yes.
Yep. Pay yourself first, but don't pay yourself first at the expense
So
of
with
meeting
that paying
obligations.
yourself, Regina,
Mhm.
when you pay yourself, is that for savings, or is that for
Oh.
just extra buying, things that you want to do when you pay yourself? Is that for savings? Is that for petty cash or like miscellaneous spending?
It can
What do
be,
you
it can be for,
assign that paying yourself for? What do
right.
you
Well,
assign
you
that
know,
to?
for people like my husband, who is very focused on making sure that all of our household obligations are met, for someone like him, it can be a matter of making sure that you have some, we call it pocket money for yourself. Because again, being very transparent, when we first started doing a written budget, there was nothing left over for pocket money. And that was one of the most difficult things for me to deal with. I mean, it didn't have to be a lot. I didn't need it to be an extravagant amount of money, but you know, everybody likes to have a little money in their pocket. So if you are working late and you're not going to be able to make it home for dinner, you want to be able to get yourself something to eat. Or if you're having lunch with a friend, or you know, you're meeting with a coworker or something like that, you want to be able to have a little money in your pocket. If you stop, you know, at your favorite department store on your way home and they've got a really, really cute outfit on sale, you want to be able to take advantage of it without it knocking your budget out of whack. So paying yourself first can mean making sure that you have a little money in hand. It can also mean setting aside a little bit more for that trip or that special occasion. It can mean setting aside more for savings if that's something that you really want and need to focus on. So it's really going to depend on the individual and your situation. And as time goes on, that pay yourself first can change. So if right now you really just want to, you know, reach a specific goal, like if you want to build your emergency fund, then that extra paying yourself first can go toward building up your emergency fund. Once you get that taken care of, paying yourself first can mean, you know, more money for your pocket money. So, you know, your budget is fluid and it's going to change each time you reach a goal. You know, if you pay off that first credit card, then paying yourself first can mean more money toward paying off the next debt. So it's really going to depend on where you are in terms of meeting your goals, where you are in terms of the process.
Right. So basically, Ms. Wonder, when you have your budget in place, in that budget, it would account for that paying yourself. That would be whatever amount that would be, however that works in your budget. Outside of safety, it can do that, but you've already have that amount for saved allotted in your budget. So it's just an additional item you can have in your budget, and it's really great because, as Regina said, it gives you the flexibility. You can do whatever you want with that amount of money.
Right.
As long as it doesn't get your budget out of line, it can, and sometimes it can be somewhat of an overflow for the next month because you may not do anything with it.
Right.
So it just helps you to have more control of it. But there is an emotional feeling. There's something you feel that makes you feel well. You know, it's like when you wear clothes, you know, they help your mood sometimes. There's a feeling you get. But having money in your pocket, whatever that amount you could do, it does the same thing. It really does. So
Yeah.
but that's not a problem with paying yourself as long as everything else in the budget is in line.
Right.
So it's a good thing to have.
Like for me, one of my favorite things that I like to be able to have a little money to do is get a smoothie at Smoothie King, or grab a bite at Panera. That's one of my favorite places. And so, you know, having cash in hand to do those things and know that it's not going to throw your budget off balance it's very empowering. So absolutely make every effort that you can to pay yourself first. The next is the envelope system, which we learned about from Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. And we did the first financial peace in
October 2014.
2014. So October of this year will make 8 years since we did that very first class. And we still operate. I wish, would you go snag our envelopes, please?
Okay. Everybody doesn't have to do this now.
Right,
Okay.
no, but this is what has worked for us. And I meant to have it with me, and I upstairs. We use the envelope system, and it's similar to the zero-based budget, but it also incorporates putting cash inside envelopes. And we actually ordered these from DaveRamsey.com. And it really got us into the habit of using cash more often, because in one of his videos, Dave talks about how studies have been done that show that when you use cash as opposed to using a debit or credit card, it actually stimulates the portion of the brain that registers pain. You actually feel it when you use cash. So that is going to, thank you, sweetie. Here are our envelopes, and they say Financial Peace University on them. These are the envelopes. I keep these with me all the time, and it tells you how it works and why you should use it. And so the categories that we use cash for are groceries, gas, Blake's commission. Blake, we do not give Blake an allowance. He earns a commission. He has things that he does around the house to earn a commission. And so when he gets his commission, it goes into his envelope. So he knows when the cash is gone, it's gone. That is it. But you guys know me, you know, I extend him grace. So I'm not as strict with that as I could be. Anyway, salon and hair. So when Blake gets a haircut, I get my hair done. When Derek gets a haircut, we use cash for that. And we allocate that cash at the beginning of the month. This is the one from my pocket money. So when Derek and I agree on, when we do our budget and we determine how much each of us will have for our pocket money, This is the envelope that it goes in. Office visit copays when we go to the doctor, shopping, clothes shopping, what else? Shoe shopping, just shopping. That's, you know, a catch-all for us. And really important, pedicures, ladies, pedicures. I pay cash. So that is actually a line item in our budget. And you can set these up for whatever works best for your household. So I carry these with me. And when these things come up, I pay cash for them. And when the cash is done, it's done. Okay. And then the last one is the 50, 30, 20. So this one gives you freedom and flexibility. You break your expenses down into 3 categories: your necessary expenses, your discretionary expenses. So that's needs versus wants, and your debt elimination. And then you dedicate the appropriate amount of your income each month to each category. So depending on where you are, what your primary focus is. If your primary focus is eliminating your debt, then maybe 50% of your income will go toward eliminating your debt, 30% to your necessary expenses, you know, all of your other obligations, your rent or your mortgage, your utilities, groceries, gas, etc. And then 20% goes toward your discretionary, your nails, your hair, your, you know, your trip that you're saving up for. So you decide how you want to allocate the 50%, the 30%, and the 20%. Okay. Any questions? Anything anybody would like to add on the different types of budgets?
And I'll just make another comment on the having the cash. Me personally, I think it really helps you that to stay within your budget, especially if you know you make sure what you can allot in cash, you do that. And because when you think about the 4 basic things are your food, clothes, shelter, and since we live in Atlanta, we would definitely say transportation. And that's one good thing about having cash on you, because many times, as you know, when you purchase gas for your vehicle, sometimes it can be as much as 10 cents difference as far as cash versus credit. So it allows you to take advantage of those opportunities when you can get, you know, a few cents off your gas. And that's just one example. But I definitely find working with the cash, at least for me personally, I would say really helps me to become more and change my habits too, as far as money change, that different change of discipline, how you spend your money and how much you spend. So that's why me personally, I do prefer to have enough cash available, and then you're not swiping your card so many times. I don't know. I hate to swipe a card for $1 or $2. I don't know how many situations you get it, but from time to time, you do have those situations where you're trying to get something. All it is $2. You want to no cash, and you want to swipe the card. I hate that. I can't do it, man. So anyway, that's one of my little things. So I share with you guys. So.
And that's something that we learned. I don't know how long stores and gas stations had been doing that, the difference in the price, you know, if you pay cash versus paying with a debit or credit card. But I never noticed that until we started doing the budget and paying cash and using the envelope system. I never noticed. Now, I think now what'll happen is, as you guys are going throughout your day, you'll notice it too. Every gas station, except for Quick Trip, they don't make a difference. But I think every place else, Citgo, Exxon, wherever you get your gas from, when you're looking at the sign, try not to go, you know, into sticker shock when you see how much the gas is. But notice there's a difference in the cash price versus the debit or credit card price. And I mean, it's not a lot at first, but if there was a way for us to keep track of how much we have saved over the last almost 8 years using cash versus our debit cards, because we cut up all of our credit cards when we did our first financial piece, but that's for the next session. So we've been using cash for gas for almost 8 years now. And I wish we had been tracking how much we've saved over 8 years. I mean, it's got to be a significant amount of money. And so we were talking about things that you can do, disciplines that you can develop to help you to stay on track. This is one of them. When you're using cash more instead of just tapping or swiping, you'll develop these habits, these disciplines, and it'll get to the point where you're not just doing it because you have to, you're doing it because now it's just a good thing to do. It's just a good habit to keep. Okay. All righty. Why should you live on a budget? What are the benefits of budgeting? It puts you in control of your money instead of your money always controlling you. Every month, Dave Ramsey says, every month you give every dollar an assignment. So again, going back to that zero-based budget, every dollar has an assignment. You know exactly to the penny how much your rent or your mortgage is, how much your utilities are, how much you're paying on your credit cards or your car note or student loans or personal loans. You know exactly how much your payments are every month. You know how much your tithe is. You know how much you are giving in offering. You know how much you're setting aside for that special occasion or that trip or that birthday gift or a baby shower. You know how much you're setting aside for savings. Every dollar gets an assignment every month. Using a budget also makes you aware of your spending habits. How much are you spending on eating out every month? How much are you spending on Starbucks? How much are you spending for those subscriptions or your gym membership or, you know, all those other items that you have on your budget? And it helps you to form new ones, like using cash more often. Using a budget helps you to set priorities. Increasing your saving, being more consistent in your giving, and eradicating your debt. Using a budget helps you be prepared for unexpected expenses or emergencies. So like we were saying, this comes up with us a lot with, you know, especially when Blake is in school. He has things that come up for school that require, you know, things that aren't ordinarily in the budget. So his involvement in sports, he played saxophone in the school band this year. So we had to add the monthly rental fee to our budget. So it keeps you aware of everything that you have going on financially in your life. It helps you have a discussion about money with your whole family. And again, depending on who's in the home with you, their ages, their maturity level. I mean, you're not going to talk to your 7-year-old about, you know, how much debt you have. You know, they don't need to know about that. But if you've got teenagers that you're teaching about managing their finances, it's a good way to get your whole family to have that conversation, get them involved so that they can see what it takes, you know, to keep your obligations met every month. It's good for young adults to see what's involved, because that way you're helping them to develop those good habits as well. Using a budget can help you to decrease your present and future financial stress. So there's less financial infidelity. If you're talking about it honestly, openly together every month, you get more comfortable doing it. You don't have to hide, you know, you're not shoving the bills in a drawer. You're not hiding the packages, you know, the things that you bought because you were stressed out and you didn't want, you know, you don't want your accountability partner or your spouse to find out about it. It's going to decrease all of that for you. And it prevents you from making money, it prevents your money mistakes from getting out of control. So again, you're watching how much you're spending on eating out. You're watching how much you're spending on gas, how much you're spending on groceries, how much you're spending on your subscriptions. So it helps you, you gotta look at it to see where you're doing well and where you can do better. Okay? Anything you wanted to add?
No, not at this point. Do we have, what else do we have?
Okay, so we've talked about the types of budgets. We talked about the benefits of budgeting. So some takeaways for you. These are a few different budgeting apps that are out there. I've heard Mint, Personal Capital, and Every Dollar are excellent. Again, we're old school, we're baby boomers, so we still use our Excel spreadsheet. But from what I've read from the different reviews for these apps, those three tend to be at the top of the list: Personal Capital, Mint, and EveryDollar. So, if you're more tech savvy and you'd like to do things electronically, check these out, look them over. I believe most of them are free. Some of them you may need to subscribe. And if you do, I think a lot of them will give you a trial period, like a 30-day trial period or something like that. So, check these out, look them over, and come back next week and tell us what you thought and what you decided to go with.
Great.
Okay.
Great. All right. Is there anything else?
Any questions? Anything anybody would like to add? Any feedback, input? Talk to us. We don't want this to be the type of thing where we're the only ones talking.
I want to share one thing, and I think I share this at church. And one of the things about budgeting that we're really grateful for, and it actually goes back to which began in October 2014, where Bishop asked us to facilitate the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace course. It was a process because basically at just the beginning of this year, I believe, just at the very beginning, it allowed us to have all our credit cards paid off. Okay. So, but that was over a 7-year process though. Yes, sometimes it did seem hard, but if you stick with it over time, I promise you will reap great benefits, great rewards, as we discussed on one of the slides.
Right.
Because what happens, you will change your habits. You will change your whole thinking and attitude different way, where you're going to do a better job of handling your money. And that is such a great place to be. But then there's really more even after that, because generally what happens, I'm finding no matter what, if you have more money, guess what we do? We tend to spend more money.
Oh,
I
yes.
think that part doesn't change, but at least now you have it where everything is it's in balance, and you've got good stewardship and a good handle on your money. And again, part of that budget, we believe, will definitely begin with your giving. Okay. Your budget will have those three components, basic of giving, your spending, and your savings. Okay. And that's the goal, is to keep sharing those things with you and remind you, yes, you can do it. But it is a process, and having accountability, I think, is one of the key things, Ms. Wanda. It's just the fact, man, yes, there are times, okay, well, when is there enough, and how do you deal with that? And we'll talk about that some more, because yes, in that process, there should be increase.
Right.
There ought to be increase. Something showing wins when you pay off, $400,000 or $500,000 debt that you really don't need, and that's unnecessary, or whatever you might have in student loans, you get that paid. But those victories of things that are eliminated, because again, when you got less money that you have to pay to a bill or spend, it's almost like, yeah, you're saving money. You're going to have more money to work with. So that's the goal, and it's a process. And Herb is a part of our team. He's going to share some things that you definitely need to know when we get to the session 4, because all of this builds, and you're going to need to know what money you have, or what bills, man, that you don't have, so you can plan for your future.
Right. And it's going to really be great for us when you come back, for the next 2 sessions, and tell us, how did things work out? What new thing did you do that you've never done before? And you went, wow, that really made a huge difference. It's really going to be great for us to hear your testimonies, you know, and they don't have to be great, big, huge ones, just little things like, you know what? I used cash instead of using my card, and you know, it really started to change my mindset, because when we when we started doing a budget and we decided to start using cash more, we were really great at tracking it on the back end. We were really good because, you know, we were experts at, you know, they didn't have the chips in the cards back then, so you had to swipe them all the time. So we were really good at, you know, swiping them. And like we talked about last week in the financial infidelity session, both of us have access to all of our accounts. So, you know, each one of us could go online at any time and see, you know, how many transactions. I could see how many transactions Derek did. He could see how many transactions I did. And then, you know, again, we're old school, so we still have an actual ledger for our checking account, and we would balance it, you know, so we would keep the receipts. We were really good about holding on to our receipts, and we would, you know, every day or every couple of days, get all of our little receipts together and put them in chronological order and write them all in the in the checkbook and balance it to make sure that we were, you know, not overdrawing the account. But we had to change the way we handled our finances, where it's not just after the fact looking at how much did we spend, are we overdrawn, did we miss anything. Now it's like, this is what we anticipate having for the month. This is how much we are allocating on the front end. This is how much we're spending for, you know, this is how much we're paying on each of our bills. This is how much we're setting aside for groceries. This is how much we're setting aside for gas, for pocket money, for getting my nails done, getting my pedicure done, getting haircuts for Blake and Derek. So we're being more proactive on the front end than we are reactive on the back end, if that makes any sense.
And then the other, it does, over time, it does get easier because you know there are just certain amounts that work well in your budget, whatever, if it's the food, even if you might have some eating out in there, but it over time it does get simpler to handle. So it's just the initial begin. There are just some key things that you have to really work hard on, set it in place to help change your habits. So.
Right, and that was one of the goals that we had for our class, was to change the way you think when it comes to how you handle your personal finances, because once your mindset changes, your behavior changes. And once your behavior changes, you start to see the results that you want. It's not just a wish. It's not just a dream. It's a system. It's a process. You know, there are things, simple things that make a huge difference, tangible things that you do, you know, week after week, month after month, and for us, year after year for the last 8 years, but they make a difference. And so again, we're really excited to see the changes that you guys will start to make and the difference that it'll make in your budgets and in your personal finances. And it is 4:55, so we're right at our hour. So here is your homework for next week. Find the budgeting app or process that works best for you and your family, and create a written or electronic budget for the month of June. Be prepared to share next week how your first budget meeting went with your spouse or accountability partner. Now, we're not going to ask you to tell us all the numbers in your budget. That's personal. We just want to see that you did it. It's the teacher in me. That's just how I roll, okay? But we want you to get started in the process. So we're going to ask you to come back next week. How did it go? What did you learn about yourself or your spouse? How painful was it? How easy was it? Did you use an Excel spreadsheet? Did you use an electronic app? Come back and tell us what you did and how it worked, okay? Any questions? Comments? Feedback?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much because the envelope system was what I had used years ago, and that was the thing where I saw progress. So starting Wednesday, I'm going to put it in place and I'm going to get started on this. And I'm encouraged to look at some apps for budgeting. So thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. We look forward to hearing next Sunday how it went, Miss Wanda. We are excited for you. But don't sign out just yet, as I gave you the homework. That's the not so fun part. Here's the fun part. Just like we did last week, we're giving away another prize this week. So one multiple choice question. First person to give me the right answer is going to be this week's winner. No Googling, okay? No cheating. Who was the first head of the United States Treasury? Was it Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, or Andrew Jackson? Take yourself off mute. The first person to give me the right answer is this week's winner.
Jackson?
Nope.
Hamilton.
Yes. Very good.
Who said Hamilton?
Who said it? Was that you, Sam?
Then
Woo! Congratulations.
How did
Woo-hoo!
you, I got a question. How did you know that? It's okay. I mean,
thank you.
He is on some money, isn't he?
hey, I will tell you when she asked me, I guessed. So,
Huh?
Hey, it doesn't matter how
I
you come
guess.
up with the answer. Congratulations, Sam. You are this week's winner.
That was a guess. It was just a guess. 'Cause I
Congratulations,
did not
congratulations.
know.
what's the deal about the prize? I don't
Oh.
know.
Thank
I don't know
you.
when or
Well, Sam, would you like to know what the prize is?
Thank you. Thank you.
how we're doing it.
Oh.
We're not telling anybody.
Oh,
Would
no.
indeed.
Isn't that what you said?
Oh, that's right. I can't, I'm sorry. I got so
Okay.
It's a
excited.
wonderful prize.
It is a wonderful prize. I got so excited, I
Well,
almost let the
Thank
cat
you.
out of
I'm
the
just
bag.
happy
But
I won.
thank you,
There you
Sam.
go.
I
You're gonna love it.
appreciate you. I appreciate you. What we're telling everyone is that in order for
Rules.
you to receive the prize, because what's going to happen is after all the life classes are over, we're going to have a big, huge celebration. We're going to have there's going to be certificates. It's going to be awesome. You don't want to miss it. And so in order for you to collect your prize from us, because I don't know of any other teachers that are giving away prizes. I'm just saying, okay? So, I want you all to be my men and women at the well. Go and tell your connection group members, connection
Yes.
group leaders, friends and family members,
Person,
anybody that can do better with their personal finances, because it's open to everybody. Tell them, look, we're doing this Zoom class. It's just an hour on Sunday afternoons. You're going to learn so much about your money, and they are giving away fantastic prizes. So all we ask is that you stick with us till the end of the session and through the end of the classes. And I am making a note of each week's winner, and we will have your fantastic prize at the celebration in just a couple of weeks when the sessions are over.
Yes.
So congratulations, Sam.
Regina,
Thank
Yes.
you.
we may need to remind the people that these sessions are being taped. So if they miss one, they can go back and listen to it. And if they
Yes.
miss something on one, they can go back and listen.
That's exactly right.
Good
Thank you,
point.
Mr. Herb. You are awesome, sir. These sessions are indeed being recorded. Oh, and you know what? We're done with the prize, with the slides, so I can stop the screen share now.
Okay.
There
we
you
go.
all are. Yes, the sessions are being recorded
Great.
and they should be available in the MCC app. So if you missed last week's, for not just for us, but for any of the other teachers
Yeah.
as well, all of the sessions will be available in the MCC app. And because this coming weekend is the Memorial Day weekend, I believe one of the classes, the time is going to change. If I'm not mistaken, the parenting class is going to move from Saturday morning to
No.
Friday evening.
But
But I will.
it's the hearing from God class.
Hearing from God.
Is it the hearing from God? Okay.
The 1 o'clock class on Saturday is going to be Friday evening at 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh gosh, and I am getting an error. I'm getting a message that my power on my laptop is running low. So does anybody have any other questions, any other feedback, comments? Please, we welcome your feedback.
Everything was
Well,
great.
I want to say, I'm gonna go back and listen to last week's, but I'm excited to put to practice the things that you shared. And just thank you and Derek so much for your time, you know, that you take out to do this,
Yes.
because I'm excited about getting my money in order and all that stuff.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. Because if you don't master your money will master you. That is just the truth of the matter. Thank you all. Thank you all
Thank
so
you.
much. We so greatly appreciate you spending your time with us. And we will be here next Sunday at 4, and we're going to be talking about eradicating your debt, crushing it, annihilating it, whatever word you want to use. That's what we're going to be talking about next week. So again, get your friends and family members,
Right.
bring them. Everybody you know that's got credit cards, car notes, student loans, whatever, bring them.
And it's definitely not too late, even though we're halfway through the remaining 2 sessions being the debt elimination and retirement. It will still be great for people to sign on with the Zoom. Invite them.
Absolutely.
Yes, we'll do the same. Invite them.
Thank you all so very much. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a fantastic week. And we'll see you next Sunday.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.